Hello, everybody, all around the world, wherever you're listening in from. It's Edna here from All Things Small Business, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you for joining me today. I'm very excited to have my guest today. He's Chris. He's one of the founders of Digital Bizarre here in Australia, in Brisbane, and they are pretty much a one-stop shop for all things marketing, which is incredible. Their main business is Google Ads, but Chris, I've been told that you do lots of other things. Tell me exactly what else you do.
Absolutely. So yes, our main focus tends to be Google Ads because that's what most people think about when they think about digital marketing these days. But we do Google Ads, we do Facebook ads, we do SEO, we do content writing for LinkedIn and places like that. So that can be content for your website. It can be content for LinkedIn to help build out your SEO or just to make sure that people are aware as to what you're doing. We also do web work. But we also work on the basis of saying, if there's anything that you need, then talk to us. We try to be a one-stop shop for pretty much everything. And we can look at things like branding to a certain extent, working with color schemes and design and things like that at the same time. So just trying to help small businesses go to just one place so they get consistency across everything that they're doing, which is kind of important.
Oh, look, and I'm learning as I go. Marketing is such a big topic, and I do social media, so I just have like one tiny little pool in the pocket, and I know that I get asked daily about so many things about marketing as a whole. And I know one of the biggest questions I get asked is, exactly when you start as a small business, you don't have a lot of money, so if you were to have a pool of money to spend on marketing, tell me, what is the answer? Where would you spend it first?
Okay. First things first, when you're starting your business, you need to put money to one side for marketing right from the word go. Don't think about it as being something that you're going to do later. Marketing is not something that you do after you've set your company up. Marketing is something that you do as you're setting your company up. The way of thinking about it is a little bit like turning around and going, okay, let's say that you've got a product that you want to sell. Okay. If you've got a shop, then you can put it out in a shop. But if you are online, people have to be able to find it. And the way of people being able to find it is you have to tell them about it, which means you have to market it. So it becomes a very chicken and egg situation in many ways. You've got your product, but if people don't know about the product, you're not going to be able to sell it. If you don't sell it, you don't get the money to be able to market it, to be able to sell more. And it works on that basis. One of the quickest and the easiest ways of getting your products noticed and getting things out there is through Google Ads. And one of the big things about Google Ads is the fact that they show what's known as intent. So someone is looking for whatever it is that you're trying to sell. And that means that you can then say, right, when someone is looking for this, show me as a provider of this service or of this product or something like that. And that will build up from there. If you're looking at things like Facebook and Instagram adverts, it works on much more a case of it's just a splash advert. There's no intent. When you're scrolling through Facebook, you're not scrolling through going, I really want to buy myself a new watch or something like that. You're just scrolling through and something will suddenly show up in front of you. So the difference between the two is your Google ads are going to people who are showing an intent because they're interested in that product or service, whereas your Facebook ads are much more they're an awareness, but you might not be hitting the audience that you're actually after.
Yeah, I've actually tried to run my own Google ads, and that was one of the worst things I ever did. The back end is so complicated, so yeah, is it just me?
No. Google Ads is one of those interesting things where there are two parts of it. The interface itself can be a little bit complex, and you've got to understand all of the different areas that you're going into. But the most important thing is the way that you think. So a lot of people are going to go, I've created this brand new company. This is my brand name. So I'm going to put in my search keywords as being my brand name and maybe a couple of other details. Now, the problem is when you're first starting out, no one is going to search for your brand name because no one knows that your brand name exists.
So true.
So people will put in, this is my brand. I want people who search for my brand to find me. Yeah, complete waste of time. You probably won't spend a lot of money because you only get charged when someone clicks on your advert, but your advert just won't show because people aren't searching for it. So this is where it comes down to understanding the business itself, and then doing the research to say, what are people who are interested in these products or these services searching for? And then you say, those are the words where if someone searches on this particular phrase, this particular word, that's when I want my advert to show up.
Yeah, that's when I'm going to show up.
And sometimes it's about taking the ego out of it as well. We all want to kind of go, yeah, look at me, look at my brand. But advertising something a bit more generic is actually probably going to do you better on that basis.
All right, I'm going to lead into, I'm going to deviate a tiny bit and go into,
Sure.
So I spend a lot of time obviously on Facebook, Instagram,
Yep.
and I'm now, sussing out marketing and looking at all that sort of stuff. And somehow
Sure.
algorithmically, they know that I'm looking at sales, and all this information about sales funnels is now coming up. Now, I'm pretty new to that space and those terms itself.
Yep.
And I know maybe it's just me, I don't know, but I don't even really understand sales funnels. Can you give me a quick 2-minute breakdown? What does it mean?
2-minute breakdown.
And does it actually help small business owners? That's the other thing I want to know.
Okay. I think the best way of putting it in some ways, sales funnels these days are kind of, it's a buzzword more than anything else.
Right.
Okay. A sales funnel says that you start off with the audience that you're trying to get to. You entice them in with some piece of information that will get them interested in you. You then speak to them and turn that interest into some action. And then hopefully you close the sale. Mm-hmm. And what happens is, the reason why it's done as a funnel is because the number of people that you start off with can be kind of like this size, and then it goes down as the people who are interested, and then down as the actual people who are going to spend money with you, and goes down further until you've actually made that sale. What is probably more important than understanding or talking about sales funnels is to understand what some people refer to as your avatar. Okay, now we're not talking about big blue people who run around in space, if you're thinking about that film, although it's it's a very close thing, because if you think about the film of Avatar, what those were, they were a representation of the people. So when we're talking about avatars within marketing, what we're doing is we are creating a visualization of our clients. It's about understanding the people who are going to buy from us. It's about understanding what kind of lifestyle they have, maybe what time of day they're going to be doing searches for, when they're going to be searching, what kind of people they are, maybe their age group, where they're going to be living, and all of these different things like this. So let me give you an example. If we were to talk about Google adverts, we can specify where our Google adverts are going to be shown. Now, let's say that you do lawn mowing service and you live in the center of a city. You're not going to have many people in the center of a city who actually have lawns.
Correct.
So what you do is you identify and say, well, okay, the people who are likely to buy my services are going to live in the suburbs. Maybe we're going to go to a suburb which is reasonably well-to-do, where there are bigger gardens, and that's where I'm going to show my adverts. So it's about recognizing, and then you say, right, that's my audience to start off with. These are the people that I want to attract. That's the starting point. That's the top end of my funnel.
Does it deviate? Yeah, does it then deviate? So once you've done, say your avatar, you think that is, and then nothing happens. Is that a sign that that's not your avatar?
Not necessarily. I mean, it can, sometimes it will take a little bit of time as well. So depending on what industry you're in, you're going to potentially be competing against other people who may be a little bit more established as well. But the more that you work on it, the more that you identify. And there are two different things that you can do. If you go with too wide an audience, then you're going to hit a lot of people and you're going to be spending money on adverts where people aren't actually that interested. If you go too narrow, then yes, the people who you're going to be targeting are likely to purchase from you, but there's probably not going to be very many of them. It's a case of finding that balance and identifying and working out from there. And within marketing, there are a number of different things that you can do. You can also sit down and create what are known as lookalike audiences. This is where you can analyze. Okay, so lookalike modeling is quite clever, because what it does is it says, these are the people who've purchased from you. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look for other people who've got similar attributes that we can then advertise to.
Fascinating. Okay. Yeah, right.
That sort of side of things tends to be done in some of the slightly larger enterprises when they've got a lot of data that they can work with. And they can build it out from there. But it's a very, very powerful thing of going, right, we've identified these are the people who've purchased. So if we can find people with similar attributes to these people, the likelihood of them purchasing as well is going to be greater than if we just went out to a random group of people and tried advertising to them.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm just going to close off with one other question about ads, because I love that you said yes. Google straight off the bat, because I was actually thinking Facebook ads were better than Google these days.
Okay.
That's my last question.
Right.
Tell me, I've also heard it's all saturated. Oh, people aren't getting any clicks these days. Oh, there's so many people on Instagram and Facebook that you just get saturated. No one's looking at it. The algorithm keeps changing. Like, oh my God, my head spins. So my closing question is, are Facebook and Instagram ads still successful? Are they worth it? You know, should we just put all our eggs in one basket and do Google to start with, or is it worth it tapping into some of those other ones as well?
Okay, no. We keep working with the other ones as well, but we do them in a slightly different way. And this is where we start getting into the black arts, which everyone gets terrified about, whereby they go, everything's listening to me. I was out on the front driveway this morning talking about this. I come back and Facebook is suddenly giving me an advert for it. Yeah, it's true. It happens. And there are two things for it. Part of it is recognition dissonance, whereby the advert's always been there, but you're only now recognizing because you've been talking about it. It's like if I was to tell you, when was the last time that you saw a mini car? You probably no idea, but I can tell you now that having put that in your mind now, over the next few days, you're going to see minis everywhere. They've always been there. Yeah. It's just that you've not noticed them.
Yeah.
Now, working with Facebook and Google together gives us a really good way of working. So as I said earlier, Facebook adverts aren't targeted in the same way because we don't have the intent. Okay, when you're going through Facebook, you're not searching for something in particular that is going to show up the advert. But if you combine your Google adverts and your Facebook adverts and do something called remarketing, this is where you can get a much better response. So let's say that you're at work or during the day, you've done a search for something. So you've done your search, a Google ad has fired off. Because you did the search, that shows intent. You are interested in this. You go to the website, you look at things, but you don't do anything. Now, in the evening, when you're at home going through Facebook, a lot of people, again, think that the Facebook ads are set and, you know, you just scroll through them, they're already in place.
It's not cookies? It's not cookies?
Well, it's not exactly cookies because we're going much more into a cookieless world. It's a little bit more complex than that. But it is working with things like pixels and details like that, which now relates to your whole online digital fingerprint, okay, which goes across multiple devices and can be tracked in a whole range of different ways because it builds into who you actually are as such. This is, as I say, this is the black magic stuff that gets everyone really scared. No. Even tin hats don't work anymore. It just doesn't work in there. So what then happens is, if you think about your Facebook feed as being, you've got the bits from your friends, and then there are blank spaces. Those blank spaces are where the adverts will go, but those adverts are fed to you in real time. So what you can actually do with your remarketing is if someone has landed on your page, on your website, when they're scrolling through, a box will come up where an advert will go, and Facebook will look and it'll say, there's an advert that needs to go in here. Have they been on any websites today which are running adverts at this precise moment? And if they have, then let us show one of those adverts in here because it will remind the person of the fact that they were on the website earlier. And this is why you can do your search during the day. You're then scrolling through and all of a sudden you go, oh, hang on a minute, that was the website I was on earlier. It freaks people out, yes. But at the same time, it drives people to potentially go back. And it's no different to those websites where you put something in your shopping basket and then you get an email a few minutes later going, you put this in your shopping basket. Are you going to buy it or not?
Yeah.
It's remarketing in the same sort of way. Yeah. It's reintroducing and showing things. And the only thing you have to be a little bit careful with is how often you then show that piece of information back again.
You have control over that in the back end, do you?
You do indeed. Now, I talk about this quite a bit. And anyone who's listened to me at any period of time would have heard this before. But there was a fantastic article written a couple of years ago, which was entitled, I was stalked online by my washing machine. It's a great title, isn't it? It's absolutely fantastic, which is why it's stuck in my mind.
That's
And
very
what
funny.
this was, what it was someone whose washing machine had broken down. They went online and searched for a new and replacement washing machine. But the company that they did the search for the next 6 months, continued to display adverts for the same washing machine over and over again.
That's a nightmare.
It is. I mean, it was a big company. It begins with A and ends in N and has a Amazon in the middle. But they every time this person was going online, depending on what website they went to, if there was an Amazon advert that was being shown, it would be for the washing machine that they'd been looking for. So it was as if they were being stalked right the way through. And you have a certain number of times when something can be shown, and after that period of time, you say, don't show it any longer. But it also depends on what products you're looking at. If it's a one-off purchase, so let's say that you're buying a new TV, maybe you'll show that advert a couple of times and then not worry about it. Let's say that it is coffee. Now, if it's coffee, you could continue to show the same advert maybe twice a month for eternity. As long as they've been to the website to begin with, they've shown an interest in there, you can continue to show that because it's something that they are likely to buy on more than one occasion.
Exactly. Oh my God, that's all so super, super, super insightful. I've learned so much today. Thank you so much. My dog is barking. So everybody watching, sorry, I muted that 100 times. You're going to hear the sound going up and down. Apologies. I'm going to have to end it. Not because of that, but anyway, I feel like we've done what we need to tell everybody amazing stuff about marketing for small businesses. I hope this has helped you in some way. Chris and the gang up at Digital Bizarr have a directory link that I'm going to add underneath here that they would love to share with you. So please get in touch with them if you need some help. They look how amazing that was. I've learned so much. Imagine if you actually work with them, how much you're going to learn. I might actually have to hook up with you. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to connecting with you someday in the very near future. Everybody else, have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.